What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Dime Dropper, another 2022 NBA playoff recap. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube at Dime Dropper Podcast, Apple Podcasts, follow us on Spotify, and of course, to follow us on all social media platforms at Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Dime Dropper Pod. For tonight's episode, we have the beginning of the second round. 2 games on the schedule today on this Sunday afternoon. The series that I was most anticipating, Celtics and Bucks. And then we had the Warriors and Grizzlies, which actually ended up being the more exciting game of the day. So let's get right into it. The Boston Celtics, who I predicted to win this series, playing against the Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, no Chris Middleton. But the Celtics themselves, Jaylen Brown did not look 100% in this game. I heard he had kind of a hamstring injury right now or something. I don't know if it's a lingering thing or it's a new thing. If you're a Celtics fan, comment and let me know. But let's just talk about the way that the Celtics started the game. I actually thought they started it pretty well, but you could immediately tell from the get-go, within the first about 5 minutes of the game, that this Bucks team's defense was on a whole different level than Brooklyn. More physical. They're bigger. So when you talk about what was crazy about today's game was the Celtics, who had bullied the Nets, who had shown, KD made comments, I made comments about the size of the Celtics. And now you got the Celtics looking smaller today. You had Drew Holiday and Wesley Matthews. That's a big backcourt when you consider how big Drew Holiday is for a point guard, for him to be your smallest guy. And then you have Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, and Giannis starting. So typically that would be Chris Middleton's spot, but today they went big to match the Celtics, and oh boy, did it work, because Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez can both spread the floor. That's what makes it lethal on offense. And then on defense, they do so well in the drop coverage, because here's the thing. They go with the drop coverage with Giannis and Brook Lopez, but what they have is Brook Lopez and Giannis aren't afraid to step up on the guy coming off the screen, because they know that their man is going to be taken care of, because the rotators on the wings and corners are bigger guys. So it's not like the issue that the Nets were having, where they had a small guy being that rotation. If Andre Drummond was in drop coverage, or an Andre Drummond was going out there to blitz Jason Tatum or Marcus Smart or Jaylen Brown, whatever, the rotation guy would be Seth Curry or Kyrie Irving. In Milwaukee's case, you got real grown men, bigs, forwards, rotating. So that made it immediately harder for Boston. And you could tell, like, the Celtics have had some tough offensive first halves in the playoffs so far, like in the beginning with the Nets, especially first quarters. But you could just tell that it wasn't just that. It was the defensive difference. Drew Holiday got off to the good start for the Bucks in terms of scoring. He created the first 8 points. The first one was an assist to cutting Giannis, and then 2 threes. So that was good to see Drew Holiday, because his shooting is inconsistent at times, but his defense, he's going to bring on that end and playmaking. But when his shot's falling, and today, he went 8 for 20, but 3 of 5 from deep, I'd consider that a solid night. He only shot 40%, but the stuff that Drew does, the amount of pressure he puts on your defense and how physical he is, just offensively, we don't even need to talk about the defense. It was obviously a great game from him. And he's literally just been great ever since Middleton's gone down, really. But Giannis actually got off to kind of a slower start. The Celtics started with Al Horford guarding him, and that was reminiscent of 2019 Game 1 when Al Horford did a tremendous job. But you knew that the Celtics weren't going to just guard him with one guy. A lot of times, even Al Horford, even though, especially in the third quarter, he held his own to a degree that you wouldn't even believe for his age and the stage of his career he's at versus a young lion like Giannis. But you got to give Al Horford credit, man. He is so strong. He's so unbelievably strong. But Giannis, despite Al Horford doing a good job, he's constantly attracting 2 defenders. He's constantly going to put assault on your rim, on the paint, get 2 feet in the paint. And that's what Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were not able to do. And part of that is because Giannis catches the ball closer to the basket. It's not just his strength. Of course, that's a thing. He rams into people like there's no tomorrow, like a freaking bowling ball. But where he catches the ball, how effective he is as the roll man, and where he starts his move these days. He's catching the ball at the elbows or catching the ball 12 feet away. 1 or 2 dribbles in, you're in the paint already. especially when he can just give you a little bump. That creates a little separation right then and there. And so what Giannis does is he will draw your two defenders from Boston. He will, you know what I'm saying? And it's not the same as KD and Kyrie where they load it up, because most of Giannis's moves aren't started behind the three-point line. And when they are, he's such a wrecking ball that you just definitely need to throw two guys at him. So the kind of rotations that Giannis makes your defense make are totally different than what the Nets have. Because with the Nets the Celtics were able to load up. They want to load up off Bruce Brown, or in the last two games we saw Blake Griffin, or just Seth Curry. They just want to make sure KD and Kyrie don't get to their spots. For Giannis, his spot is the paint. And you can stop Giannis from getting in the paint, but to sink all the way into paint and then run out to the three-point line is much harder than when you're just a step away from your man trying to get ready for KD or Kyrie to drive and then retreat. It's totally different. It's what I always say about getting deep post position, and why you saw KD have more success in game 4, but he didn't go to it quick enough. Whereas Giannis, you know what he's going to give you. He wasn't necessarily super deep on the catch today, but he got the ball not too far, kind of like last year's playoffs. And 1 or 2 dribbles, boom, he's right there, 2 feet in the paint. You got to react to him. You got to send everybody. And he was making some incredible passes. Giannis's passing has just gotten better each year. I also think he's better at that aspect than KD from what I'm seeing. He had some passes in the air today that were just ridiculous, LeBron-esque, really. Just behind the basket, he had this one where he was literally underneath the basket and he just in the air scooped it out to behind the three-point line straight away. That was ridiculous. And there was another one where he literally lost the ball. This was in the second half. He literally lost the ball and then found a way to throw it behind his back, and it bounced almost perfectly to a shooter. I think it was Wes Matthews, but he's just impressive. And the Celtics, they're going to switch 1 to 5. You already know that. We saw a good amount of Grant Williams on Giannis as well. Time Lord here and there, who started, by the way, today, and had some nice putbacks in the first half. But for the most part, I thought Time Lord was a little quieter than normal. 22 minutes for him, 6 points, 8 rebounds, 3 of 6 shooting. And by the way, so the most success the Celtics had in the game was they were up 18-12. Marcus Smart, I thought, was doing a really good job running the offense, finding guys in pick and roll, attacking and kicking. But the Bucks closed the quarter on a little bit of a run. And a large reason that was Brook Lopez. I thought he just was awesome all game. It's crazy to think about. I underestimated, and I think everybody underestimated how big of a loss Brook Lopez really was for the whole season. Because not only is he an underrated defender, solid in that drop coverage, good length, good size, and obviously can shoot the ball. But, man, he was doing a hell of a job protecting that rim today. And when he's got Giannis next to him, Bobby Portis next to him, even more size, and Giannis is such a great help defender, one of the best help defenders in the league, maybe the best, you've got a little bit of extra assurance. You know what I'm saying? If somebody gets a step on you. And the Bucks just turned their defensive antennas up and started creating turnovers towards the end of the quarter. Even though the Bucks had more turnovers than the Celtics in the first, it was only 29-28 after 1. Or sorry, 27-24 Bucks after 1. And the second quarter is really where they started to separate themselves. They outscored the Celtics 29-22 in the quarter, and you saw an 8-man rotation really from both teams. Daniel Tice only played 4 minutes today. 4 minutes. So that'll be interesting to see if, considering the Celtics lost, will Ime go to Daniel Tice a little bit more? Does he feel like he has a place in this series? But Grant Williams, Peyton Pritchard, and Derek White were the 3 substitutes for the Celtics that really got minutes. Grant Williams being the only one that played over 16 minutes. And then for the Bucks, they had 3 bench players play 20-plus minutes. Javon Carter, Pat Connaughton, and Grayson Allen. And the fact that they all shot 50%, Javon Carter 2 for 4, Pat Connaughton 3 for 6, Grayson Allen 4 for 8, huge. They were making all their open shots, basically all of them, because Giannis was creating. Drew Holiday was creating, but especially Giannis. Just some amazing passes. Pat Connaughton made some deep ones. And one thing that was really working for the Bucks, the Celtics offense, particularly Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, were just not hitting. Jaylen Brown looked like a pedestrian all game. This was just unacceptable from him if the Celtics want to win this series. Not aggressive, playing like a role player, looking, I don't want to say disinterested off the ball, but almost like he's not engaged fully, not playing with that swagger that we've seen Jaylen Brown play with, over the last 2 years. And I don't know if that's an injury thing because he had an amazing putback dunk in the first quarter, which made you think, oh, that hamstring looks fine. But he just didn't look very confident in himself. He wasn't able to really get to the rim. Just wasn't really that involved. And what you really saw from the Milwaukee Bucks was the getting stops, and they would push the pace and get a lot of open threes in transition. Bobby Portis, obviously Giannis getting downhill in transition. He's one of the best transition players of all time, in my opinion. Just such a wrecking ball. You know what I'm saying? You've got to throw two guys at him constantly. That's really what it is. You constantly got to throw two guys at him, and where you got to throw two guys at him is what makes it hard to rotate, what makes it different than that of the Nets and loading up from the top, which I always talk about. That's why I always encourage people to go in the post. And Giannis went in the post a little bit today, but not even it was less post, more just facing up, rip through, and boom, shoulder, or just going right into your chest, right through you. But we saw a little bit of post too. And one beautiful shot, turn around over his right shoulder in the second half, one-legged fade from the foul line against Grant Williams on some like Dirk stuff. You know, I'd say, and here's the thing, the Celtics, I'm making it seem like Giannis just had an amazing game. He had a very good game, but the Celtics did a good job on him in terms of holding him to an inefficient night. 9 for 25 from the field for him. And he only shot 2 threes, which was good. Missed them both. 6 for 11 from the line. So, you know, in terms of efficiency, it could be a lot better from Giannis. But you've got to love the way he attacked. The way he attacked, it was basically make someone else beat us if you're the Celtics, and they got beat by the other guys for sure. Smart's defense, by the way, I thought Al Horford and Marcus Smart's defense, though, was spectacular. I don't think I would put anything on them. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And Jason Tatum was just kind of struggling to get clean looks. They were zeroing in on him. And the thing about the Celtics was they were getting a ton of open threes, a ton. But what do we go back to saying? What was the concern with the Celtics early on in the season? And I kind of vaguely mentioned in the preview. Live by the three, die by the three. And that's exactly what happened with Boston. We saw this be their undoing in 2018 in Game 7 against LeBron's Cavs. We saw this be their undoing in 2020 against the Miami Heat in the bubble. And you saw them have no plan B. And again, I've talked about this with Memphis, talked about it with Minnesota. What are some of these teams' plan Bs if their threes aren't falling and they're not getting right to the rim? Where's your in-between game? Are you just going to keep running a high pick and roll? That's like something you got to run ISO. So, I mean, some kind of creative sets. But I thought the Celtics were actually going to make a run of it in the second half when Tatum started out with 2 threes, cut it down to 6. Horford was battling. Marcus Smart was battling. But the Bucks were able to continue to get stops through Lopez, through Giannis. By the way, Drew Holiday and Wes Matthews fighting over every single screen on Tatum and Jaylen, especially in Marcus Smart. That's what makes it so special because they don't put their bigs, the guy playing the drop coverage, in a bad spot where they got to really play 2 people at once. They know that they just got to step up a second and give Drew Holiday and Wes that second to get over the screen, and they'll get back around. And then they know that their blind spot is covered with the corner guys because Bobby Portis and Giannis, especially when Giannis is that guy, when Lopez is put in drop coverage, you got Drew Holiday getting over the screen, and then Giannis and Wes Matthews on either side. You're taking your chances with the Bucks there for them to make those rotations and affect the play. But as I said, Bucks kept getting stops and got in transition. Bobby Portis, I just love that guy's offensive array, his arsenal, his bag. He's got an old school bag. There was one beautiful shot he had tonight. It was literally, I kid you not, Jordan-esque. He caught the ball and just turned right away before he even dribbled. He knew exactly what he was going to do before he even caught the ball. And it was from like 18 feet too. Turn around over the right shoulder. He's got the outside. He's got the inside. I really think if Bobby Portis got more looks, got more looks and plays drawn for him, he could average like so many points. I really think so. Maybe it's because I just feel like I don't see him play badly, but I love the way he scores. I also thought that Jason Tatum was getting too concerned with the refs because the Celtics, this was a tough officiated game. Scott Foster was trending after this game. And during the game, really, because the Celtics, they weren't getting that great of a whistle. But at the same time, it's like you got to play through it. Jason Tatum's got to play through it. And Jaylen Brown had less than 10 points after 3 quarters. So Again, that's just never going to do it. And then, mind you, the Celtics are turning the ball over a lot. The Bucks had 13 turnovers, Celtics 18 turnovers, and only 3 of them came from bench players. So that means 15 of their 18 turnovers came from starters, 7 of them from Jaylen Brown alone. This was one of the worst playoff games I've ever seen him play. At least, he didn't obviously miss the playoffs last year, but 2020, I don't remember him having a playoff game this bad. 12 points for him, 9 rebounds and 4 assists and 2 steals. Mind you, he hit 2 threes in the fourth quarter, but it was kind of too little, too late threes. So he really was like 2 for 11 at one point. And I remember seeing that and they were talking about it. The Celtics, they just couldn't really string together a run. They got so many open threes. Peyton Pritchard, this was kind of when I knew the game was done. Early fourth quarter, Peyton Pritchard missed 3 open threes off little hedge and recover that the guards were doing. When Tatum was getting the screen really high, like 30 feet away, the Bucks were just hedging and recovering. But obviously when he got the screen inside the three-point line, drop coverage. But Bucks were just hitting in transition. I remember Portis got a pass from Giannis on the Pritchard missed 3, put him up 87-72, or I'm sorry, 97-82, I believe. No, it was 87-72. And that was it. Giannis was just so relentless all game, so physical to the point where the Celtics started limping. Like Marcus Smart, his shoulder, I think, popped out. And then Rob Williams got a hit in the leg. They were just beaten up. And it's crazy that the Celtics, who were doing all the beating up in the last series, are getting beaten up this time. Just an incredible performance by the Bucks. They really showed me, like, yo, D, you better chill. You better realize we're the champs. And yeah, what an impressive performance by the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's read the lines. Jason Tatum, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 3 turnovers on 6 for 18 shooting. 4 of 9 from deep. So he shot well from 3, but did not shoot well from the field. It seemed like he got fouled a lot going to the basket, but did not get any calls. And then Jaylen Brown, I already said. Marcus Smart, 3 for 11 from the field, 1 for 6 from deep, only 10 points, 6 assists he had. So he had a tough night shooting the ball, but I thought he was good because of his defense. Al Horford was, I think, the best player on the Celtics today. 12 points, 10 rebounds, did a great job on Giannis, 4 for 11 from the field and 4 of 9 from deep. But the Celtics, they shot only 33% as a team, 28 out of 84. And this is the stat that kills me. By the way, Peyton Pritchard, 2 for 8, all of them threes, 6 points. This is the stat that kills me, though, right here, guys. 18 for 50 from deep. Like 53s. And that's my thing. Like, what's their alternative if they're not hitting threes, the Celtics? They need to be able to go to the mid-range with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And if the pick and roll, they're going to take it away in drop coverage and sit over those, get over those screens well and stuff, you got to go straight ISO. You're going to have to go with some straight ISOs. Or some creative sets that me here as not a coach I'm not going to be able to tell you what those are. That's up for Ime to draw some sets. But the Bucks are going to be physical, straight up. They're going to be very physical. Let's read the Bucks stat lines. Giannis, 24 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 blocks, 9 for 25 shooting, 6 of 11 from the line. It's not very efficient, but he dominated. 6 points, 10 rebounds for Brook Lopez, 3 for 7 from the field. Only shot 2 threes and missed them both. Bobby Portis, 15 and 11, 6 for 12 shooting, 2 for 7 from deep. Drew Holiday, 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 8 for 20 shooting. Wes Matthews, 5 points on 2 of 7 shooting, 1 of 6 from deep. And then Grayson Allen, 11 points, 4 of 8 shooting, 3 of 6 from deep. Pat Connaughton, 8 points, 3 of 6 shooting, 2 of 4 from deep. And Javon Carter, 7 points, 2 for 4 from the field, 1 for 2 from deep. But let me hold on 1 second, guys, and let us switch over to the Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors. All right. Warriors Grizz. The Grizzlies came out with a lot of energy. A lot of energy. And they looked like the more lively young team. You could really tell the youth for the Memphis Grizzlies was affecting the game. And sorry. Anyways, their youth. You saw in the Minnesota series where they actually had youth to combat. The Timberwolves matchup was good because they had the youth and athleticism to combat the Grizzlies, whereas the Warriors looked a little sluggish and slow today. They looked like it was just like they weren't prepared in the beginning of the game, and the Grizzlies hit them with a run in the beginning, 32-24 in favor of them in the first quarter. I was pretty surprised, and when I saw John Morant make 2 threes to start the game, that's when you knew that this may be a good day for Memphis. They looked faster, they looked younger, they were fast breaking, and the Warriors just started missing threes. And by the way, we saw an adjustment for Steve Kerr today, and that was Draymond Green playing the 5. Kevon Looney, Kevon Looney coming off the bench. Gary Payton Jr. started, and the Grizz, they tried to go small, and Jordan Poole came off the bench. So that was an interesting substitution by Steve Kerr. Got a lot of open looks in the beginning of the game, started missing from deep. And the Grizzlies' athleticism, you can see it bothering them. Dillon Brooks, the Grizzlies' defense is better than Minnesota. You're going to see Dillon Brooks getting over screens and fighting. And, John Morant is the weak link on defense for the Grizzlies. Jaron Jackson Jr., though, Brandon Clark Xavier Tillman started today. But obviously, Brandon Clark's getting starter minutes at 31 minutes. Jaron Jackson Jr. also 31 minutes. And you just know the length of Memphis. They're going to be tougher. Their help defense is going to be sharper. Even though Minnesota's defense wasn't – I'm sorry. I keep thinking I got confused for a sec. The Warriors played against the Nuggets. Yeah, their help defense is not the same. Their size, their quickness, their speed isn't the same. And I thought John Morant had his best half of the playoffs maybe. He was attacking the rim. He was hitting the 3 ball in the beginning. He was – honestly, this was a poorly officiated game, I must say. I thought in the first quarter, the Warriors got a terrible whistle. I thought in the second quarter, the Grizzlies got a bad whistle. And BC started playing really well again, active on the offensive boards. The Warriors were getting cooked on the glass in the first half. It was actually a tale of 2 halves in that department. Brandon Clark had 3 offensive rebounds, but he was just active as a roller, and he just causes havoc out there. But it was the John Morant show. John Morant shot 31 shots tonight, which is a lot for a point guard. But it wasn't necessarily inefficient. He made 14 of them, 14 for 31, so he wasn't bad. And he just was really aggressive. And he knew the Warriors had no rim protection. He went there. Now, Draymond Green, how do I put it? He's so important for this Warriors team. He does so many good things on the court. He has some amazing reads and great passes in the half-court set, but sometimes because he's such a non-threat to score, the passes become tougher than they need to be because they're not worrying about his jump shot at all. They're not worrying about his drive at all. So he was throwing some reckless passes. He had 5 turnovers, and he only played 1 half. And guess what about Draymond Green, guys? If you watch the game, very controversial ejection. Very controversial. And, he pulled – Brandon Clark was airborne. He kind of pulled his jersey down, but I think he was trying to help him from falling hard. However, Draymond Green does have a history, so you knew the refs were going to do some shit. And they ejected him, which I thought was pretty ridiculous. Just because I don't like seeing ejections in the playoffs like that, I just thought it wasn't excessive. But to each his own, right? The NBA is different now than it used to be. And you saw oh my God, so many players went to Twitter and talked about it. Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, big game James Worthy, just JaVale McGee. A lot of people went to Twitter to complain about that. But I thought that the momentum would completely shift to the Grizzlies. They were up by 6 at halftime. John Morant was cooking. But the third quarter, you saw a different approach from the Warriors. They were able to start Jordan Poole. They went small. You got to see a lot more Kevon Looney, good amount of Otto Porter, who played 23 minutes. And they spread him out and constantly put Ja in the pick and roll. So when they were putting Ja in that pick and roll, Ja was just hedging, recovering. But you got to be very careful because if you hedge too fast and get retreat, Ja Morant going to be turning that corner. I'm sorry, Steph Curry or Jordan Poole going to turn that corner, have a lane to the basket. Or on the pick and pop, finding Jordan Poole and Steph Curry when they're screeners. And you were seeing a lot of that tonight or today, and they were starting to get going in that third quarter, especially Jordan Poole, who was getting to the rim, making his threes, just looking like the Jordan Poole we saw in games 1-3 against Denver. And Steph Curry started heating up. Klay Thompson, he had a tough shooting night all game. Steph Curry, though, started looking a little bit better in that second half. Step back threes, got a switch on Jaron Jackson one time, got into a step back. And speaking of Jaron Jackson, the Warriors started switching everything on the Grizz, and that sometimes allowed guys like Kevon Looney to guard Ja. And Ja would obviously get the step. You know, Ja's going to constantly try to get into the paint. And obviously, when the Warriors bring help, he was making the right play. Jaron Jackson Jr. had 8 consecutive points. One of them, he had Andrew Wiggins on him. And twice, I think, in the game, he went to the post against Wiggins and had a nice little running lefty running lefty hook. And again, remember when I talked about Jaron Jackson Jr. having jump hooks with both hands in his rookie year and never going to it? Well, he was going to it a little more today, and that's great. He needs to continue to go to it. He needs to dominate on the inside and outside, and that'll let him take the next step in his career. But despite the fact that Jaron Jackson Jr. was hitting everything from three, he had his best playoff game of his career, in my opinion, so far. Desmond Bain had a tough shooting night tonight, and he's been arguably the best player for Memphis in the playoffs. 3 for 10 and 1 of 5 from deep. I'm guessing Steve Kerr, and his staff had a plan to try to not let him get going. But the bigger liability for the Grizzlies on offense, Dillon Brooks. I mean, this guy sometimes has Kobe level confidence, and he's like a role player. Like he's like a Will Barton level player with Kobe confidence. This guy just doesn't know what a good. I saw one of my old trainers today tweeting, "Man's 2 for 10 taking a heat check," and it's like, dude, he really was reckless shot selection, and it was letting the Warriors stay in the game a little bit, but. Thankfully for the Grizzlies, the Warriors weren't hitting their threes either. They continued to keep putting John pick and roll. Poole was hitting some tough shots. He hit this 1-3 from way downtown in the fourth that, nearly he got a 4-point play. But I thought the real difference in the game in the fourth quarter for the Warriors, and by the way, they outscored the Grizzlies 36-29 in the third. The main difference to me was the offensive glass. A ton of long misses from their threes and a lot of long rebounds. A lot of it just luck, but also just being in the right place at the right time and just hustling, turning that gas up a little bit. And the Grizzlies getting a taste of their own medicine. The Grizzlies had 16 offensive rebounds, but the Warriors had 16 offensive rebounds. And the Warriors out-rebounded the Grizzlies 51-47. So if you were to tell me that the Warriors were going to win the glass battle, then you knew that the game was not going to be in the Grizzlies' favor. And it was so neck and neck the whole fourth quarter. It was super exciting. Again, poorly officiated game. At times in the game, it was like they weren't going to call anything, and then they started calling ticky-tack shit. But Ja started taking over, though, in the fourth, like we've seen him do a couple times in this playoffs. Game 5 against the Wolves, and then at times in the fourth quarter, Game 3 in that comeback against the Wolves. But he was getting to the rim at will. He started realizing, like, the thing about the Warriors was they were, just like the Celtics against Giannis today, they were sagging off, just begging him to shoot. And sometimes Ja was taking the bait. He was 4 for 11 from deep tonight, so it was pretty good. But I remember him missing his last 2, and they were given to him. So the Warriors are going to live with that all series. They're going to play the odds, and every time he shoots that, it's a bailout because Ja is amazing at putting constant pressure on you as the defender, going right into your chest, going right at the big man in the restricted area. He will get into the paint at will, and he's so fast, quick step, whatever. But trading buckets late in the game. But someone else. I talked about Looney on the offensive glass. He had 2 offensive rebounds, but Gary Payton Jr. I thought he was amazing. Just made a bunch of nice defensive plays, hustle plays, was getting on the floor, working so hard. Some 50-50 balls the Warriors got in the fourth were just huge. They got second, third opportunities at shots, and that was a big difference in the game. Ja, he got an and one that made it 112-110 with like 3 minutes left, and I was thinking that the Grizzlies were going to take it home. I thought Ja was just bound to close it out. But a hustle play by GP2 on an offensive rebound got Andrew Wiggins an open dunk. And I thought Andrew Wiggins was, again, very solid tonight, doing what he always does, just not hitting his threes. And then Ja went back and scored again. GP scored off a Steph pass. And that's the thing. When Steph Curry, Jordan Poole getting so much attention, they're going to find open man. There's always someone open when they're coming off screens, and they were making the right plays tonight. And then Brandon Clark, go-ahead bucket to make it 116-114. That would, however, be the last bucket that the Memphis Grizzlies scored because Klay Thompson, who was off and having to struggle on defense a little bit, hit the go-ahead three after missing a three on that same possession. And that's one thing you got to love about Klay. He'll never, he misses one. He doesn't get discouraged. He'll continue to make it. And then maybe the most iconic defensive play of Steph Curry's career. John Morant trying to take him to the basket, tries to push off, and Steph gets his hand on the ball and gets the block as the Warriors get the ball back. And the craziest part, Klay Thompson missing both free throws. As they say in these days, he was selling. And Ja came back the other way, missed a lefty layup, good defense by the Dubs. And the Warriors, after not having Draymond Green for a whole half, John Morant having maybe his best playoff game thus far this season, Jaron Jackson Jr. having the best playoff game of his career, and Klay Thompson shooting 6 for 19 and 3 of 10 from deep, still win in Memphis. What a big win for Golden State. Now it's really danger time for the Memphis Grizzlies, because if they go down 0-2, this could be a sweep. Let's read the stat lines. Draymond Green, 6 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 5 turnovers in his 17 minutes before the ejection, 2 for 3 from the field. Andrew Wiggins, 17 points, 8 boards, 6 of 14 shooting, 1 of 5 from deep, 4 for 7 from the line. That's still an issue. He's got to get better at free throws. But he still had a solid game. You know what he does on defense. Gary Payton Jr., 8 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, a steal and a block, 4 for 5 shooting. Klay Thompson, 15 points, 6 for 19, 3 for 10 from deep. Steph Curry, 24 points, 3 boards, 4 assists, 8 for 20 shooting, 5 for 12 from deep. So fire percentage there. And then we saw a little bit of Damian Lee today for 3 minutes, but Kevon, 8 points, 6 boards, 2 offensive rebounds, 4 of 5 shooting. And Jordan Poole, my player of the game for Golden State, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists on 12 for 20 shooting, and 5 for 10 from deep, plus 10 from plus minus as well. For the Grizz, DeAnthony Melton, we saw him get benched against the Wolves, but he got back in the rotation today. New matchup, new situation. He had a good game. 14 points in 25 minutes, plus 14 plus minus, 5 of 8 shooting, 3 of 6 from deep. And then Brandon, by the way, Kyle Anderson had a tough one, 0 for 3, and was just struggling. Brandon Clark, 12 points, 9 boards, 4 for 6 shooting, 3 offensive rebounds. Desmond Bain, as I said, 3 for 10, 1 of 5 from deep, only 9 points. Dylan Brooks, he needs to have a better game, and he will, but he has these kind of shooting nights. 8 points, 3 for 13 shooting, 2 of 8 from deep. Jaron Jackson Jr., 33 and 10, a block, 10 of 18 shooting, and 6 of 9 from deep. So he had a hell of a game. And he didn't get the ball late. That was a huge issue, too, for Memphis. He was hot and didn't give him the ball late. And then John Morant, 34 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 turnovers, 14 for 31 shooting, and 4 for 11 from deep. So Ja was really good. I don't think you can blame him at all. He got blocked by Curry, but it happens. Curry's the best point guard in the league. 41 for 95 from the field for Memphis. They shot 43%. 40% from deep, though. 16 to 40, which is, again, a lot of threes, but they shot a good percentage. But, yeah, that's about it. The Grizzlies with a big loss. The Celtics with a big loss. So game 2 is going to be must-win games. I have more confidence in the Celtics winning than Memphis because the Warriors, I feel like they can play a lot better than this. Desmond Bain will have a better game, though, in game 2, but will Ja and Jaron Jackson Jr. play like that? Will Jaron Jackson Jr. make 6 threes? You know, Dylan Brooks, if Dylan Brooks and Desmond Bain shoot well, though, that'll be big time. Tyus Jones also didn't have much of an impact in this one. Only 12 minutes played and was 1 of 4. And by the way, you saw more Jonathan Kuminga, as I said you'd see in this series. 6 points in 15 minutes to go along with 6 rebounds. But yeah, big game, big hustle plays by the Warriors. They got it done. Steph Curry, big defensive play. And Steph continues to lead by example, makes everybody better. But that's it for me tonight, guys. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 a dime. About to go live subscribers waiting so patiently in the chat. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you leave a comment for the algorithm and leave a review if you'd like on Apple's podcast or Spotify. Thanks and have a good night. We'll be back tomorrow for game 1, Dallas versus Phoenix and Miami versus Philadelphia. My bad, bro. Sorry, bro. I was trying to tell my parents to fucking open the door. I'm to the live subscribers now, so you can come back if you want.
I don't want to eat near your mic.
No, you're straight. You're not B White. You're not gonna hear you from a mile away. What's up, Dime? No, yeah, I feel you. What's up, Dime? I'm back. Many great moments together with head-scratching moments from our guys, but I'll take the win. Got to do it again, game 2. Pasha Man says Celtics got waxed. Kyle's take says, watch one of the 2 lives I missed, and I can't believe Dime, a Clipper fan, just said his favorite round was the second round. I know the curse is broken, but you got me there. Dude, I'm starting to like the second round the most. I just think that 8 teams, quality basketball, like 2 games a night. I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. Like, because I like that when there's, like, for example, my favorite part of the World Cup is the group stage because everybody's in. So that's why it's my favorite. Because I love the knockout, but when you get to the knockout stages, you're starting to think like, oh my God, it's almost over. The group stage is the longest. What is? Of the NBA?
Depending on the matchup.
Of the NBA playoffs?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the first
More
round.
unpredictable than the first.
Yeah, exactly. It's just more competitive.
The more unpredictable usually.
Will Johnson says Giannis.
Did Ryan comment?
I don't see Ryan. I see Bonson says Giannis. That was like 40 minutes ago, though. Ja'Cory Marshall says that game felt so determined for Grizzlies to win because of refs. Warriors in 5.
I heard that from the chat. It was kind of confusing. I heard that they were saying that the Warriors were getting all the calls in the beginning, and then I guess
that's what it was. It was just a poor.
It kind of flip flopped.
Damn, what the hell is that? Burger?
Yeah, burger and fries.
Damn, looks pretty fire.
Yeah, it's so funny. This girl that was working there right now recognized me because she used to work at the cafe there. What was I gonna ask you? You mind if I take a lop of your tree? I forgot to bring my tree.
Of course not.
And I'll spare you.
We were able to squeak out a win when we really should not have won. The moment Dre got ejected, it was demoralizing. At the end of the second quarter.
Was it like really like a bad ejection?
You haven't seen it?
No.
Nah, I don't think it was that bad. Kobe would have hated it. Brent says, yo. Brent says Celtics got to switch up the game plan. Yeah, that's one thing I didn't really talk about in the adjustments for the Celtics. And they got to get into the mid-range area more. That's all I can say. Yeah, with the punch. Yeah, that guy said it was super nice to send me all those books. This one was Dan Issel's. This guy Noah on Twitter. This is Dan Issel's book. Dan Issel was a superstar in the ABA. And then it's signed by him randomly. I didn't even know. Brent says Golden State Warriors the only team to win by the 3. Yeah, but they take good threes and they move the ball, fam. That's another thing. And they got easy baskets on that with those KD teams. Brandon Hall says, yo, KB Magic, the biggest LeBron hater and Devin Booker hater in the business. What's good, peoples? Yo, do you think it's being a true Laker fan if you jump off board when LeBron comes?
Say that again?
Do you think it's being a true Laker fan if you jump off board when LeBron comes? No, it's come on, man. Don't be too generous. It doesn't. The name on the front is bigger than the back. Doesn't matter who comes. If Plumber Jim came to the Clippers, I still wouldn't stop being a Clipper fan, even though I hate him. This guy, KB Magic, bro, he hates LeBron so much he stopped being a Laker fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't like the Lakers as much right now as I did when he first came, but like, I don't know.
I just realized I clickbaited this shit.
This shit would kind of happen.
You think so?
Because it's like it always happens. It's like it doesn't surprise me. The first year, I liked the moves that we made, but I also didn't like that we got rid of. You already know how I feel. I didn't like that we got rid of JaVale, that we got rid of Dwight. I don't know if that was like all on LeBron or if the front office felt the same way. I don't know.
Someone says
I can't see LeBron saying, "Oh, don't bring back Dwight or JaVale." Like,
no, he wouldn't do it. I don't think he would do that. Someone saying Giannis is the best player. Yeah. Oh my God. I just realized I clickbaited the shit out of everybody. I put best player in the world is blank, and I didn't even say that I think it's Giannis, but I think you could probably infer that. I clickbaited the shit out of everybody. Well, whatever. I'm just leave it up.
that's good.
Terminator 92 says, I'll admit prior to the Warriors Grizzlies. Yeah. I'll admit, but I'm not recording. I'm recording on the YouTube, but not on the podcast. I'll admit prior to the Warriors Grizzlies series, dude, I got to check my recording back for the moment you came because I was stuttering so much. And I was like, I was trying to text my parents off the computer, like, can you open the door for him? Dude, I'll admit prior to the Warriors Grizzlies series, I thought Age and Clay coming back from 2 major injuries back-to-back years would hurt them. I was wrong. Kudos to them grinding out this victory. Yo, Terminator 92, shout out to you, bro. Showing love to my boy Lake Show and Showtime Nick. Appreciate you, bro. I see you on Twitter. Darkmaster23 says, feels like we're watching the Celtics from 2019 all over again, to be honest. Okay, that's a very knee-jerk reaction. Calm down. Celtics of 2019 had no chemistry. They'll bounce back, dude. This is a different Giannis, too. This Giannis is a totally different animal. Where he catches the ball is totally different. He's so smart. Yeah. I feel like it gave you those vibes, though, because it was Giannis coming into the TD Garden and, like, dominating on the inside against Horford, Tatum, and Jaylen and Smart. And Tice.
And so,
actually, Tice may have been injured that playoffs.
Robert Williams got hurt?
No, it was 2018 Tice was hurt. Tice and Kyrie were hurt.
I'm saying right now, though, in this series.
Yeah, but I don't think it was serious.
And then Marcus Smart got hurt?
Yeah, but he just popped his shoulder. I think he'll be fine. I know Golden State Warriors. Brent says, I know Golden State Warriors fans don't want to think about it, but they're gonna have to pick between Poole and Clay. All right, let's stay in the moment now, Brent. Kyle's take says, I don't think it's gonna be like that though. Terminator 92 says Dylan Brooks is a garbage bum. Jesus, that's harsh. Terminator 3 for 13. Draymond pulled an Antonio Brown with that ejection, says Terminator 92. Kyle's take says Bain disappeared today. I hope he can continue to make that happen. I swear I didn't notice him on the floor during the fourth. Terminator 92 says, feel like this Grizzlies team is too similar to the 02-03 Nets. Most of their points just come from hard work and grind. Score a lot more than that, though. Kyle's take says we were daring Ja to shoot, and luckily the shots he was hitting in the first half ones, he only won 3 in the fourth. Gary Payton Jr. making his dad proud, says Terminator 92. Facts. Mikey T says GP2 was amazing today. Going to be very important throughout the playoffs. Facts. Kyle's take says, Dime, you got to talk about that stretch where Clay and Steph were in foul trouble and our bench cut a 10-plus point lead to like 5 in that second quarter. Fuck, did I miss it? Maybe I missed it, man. Hey, my boy KP says, if Warriors win on Tuesday, it's going to be scary. The executive hater? Just a guy on YouTube says, yo, Dime, what was your preseason finals prediction? Bucks and Suns? Actually, no. Was it Lakers and Nets? At one point, it was Lakers and Nets, but that was just like thinking that it could happen. But my actual prediction was Bucks and Suns again because I don't go against the grain. I stick with like my last year was Lakers and Heat before the season. I just go with no changes because the Suns were running it back, and I had them finishing number 1 in the regular season. So I was like, okay, the Suns, and then the in the East, yeah, the Bucks. I didn't have any doubts on that one. Terminator 92 says, real talk, the Suns, Bucks, and maybe the Celtics are the only team that have a realistic chance beating the Warriors. Yeah, I agree. Those are the only 4 teams that are going to win the championship. The Heat and the Sixers are not winning. Heat have a small chance, but I don't think so. The Sixers are total bullshitters. They're frauds, and they're going to be found out very soon. Brent says, I really want to see a healthy Embiid versus the Heat. Yeah, so do I. But now that he's out, man, the Heat got to win tomorrow. They got to win the first 2 games. They got to win both. No excuses. No, Kyle Lowry is still not an excuse. Mikey T says, by the way, Steve Kerr coached his ass off tonight. Mikey T says, I think Steph or Steve Kerr said after game 5 against the Nuggets that they're learning how to win closeout teams again. That's what it felt like today. Yeah, I mean, they should. They're experienced as hell. Terminator 92 says, don't trust the Grizzlies due to their inexperience. Facts. Mikey T says, Golden State can/will play much better. KP says, having no games from Tuesday to Saturday is weird. KB Magic says, Warriors in Memphis going to be a long series. The longer it goes, the more Memphis size wears the Warriors down. We'll see about that, KB. I don't know. I don't trust these teddies. Talking all that shit, too. I'm happy they got smacked in the face. Fucking on their high horse. What kind of smoothie is that? I feel. I thought so. Kyle's take says, come on, Clay and Steph got to start making free throws. Yeah. VR Booma says, if Middleton comes back, I got the Bucks repeating. I feel you on that. Mikey T says, Bucks are so good at closing down the paint in mid-range. They give up the most threes in the league, and they're great at contesting them with their length. Great observation. That's facts. Kyle's take says, Golden State Warriors sometimes dives in the 3. Example, 3-1 2016 choke. Yeah. KB Magic says, I'm not a Booker hater. Y'all just overhype him. LOL. You don't give him any credit, bro. Every time he messes up, fake Kobe. Fake Kobe. Love that Chris Paul. Brent says, I think the Lakers stopped being the Lakers when Jeannie Buss took over. She's taking it to the ground. Okay, well, they did win a championship, man. Everybody's really harsh. Everybody, like, I don't get it. Rob Pelinka was amazing, and now he sucks because he's
nobody wants to blame him.
Yeah, Jeannie Buss was great, but okay, Jeannie Buss has been cheap. She's definitely lost the plot. She's not her dad, but I'm not gonna say that she was. Everybody's like, oh, she's so great. Like the Ballmer should take notes from a real legend like Jeannie, and she's not. I mean, you don't just suck overnight. You know what I'm saying? Or over through the course of a year. She's not the best. She was cheap with a Caruso move, but yeah. Darian, how you doing, man? Eid Mubarak. Thank you, man. You Muslim too? I'm going okay. Terminator 92 says, I'm putting Giannis above KD all time if he leads the Bucks without Middleton past the Celtics. I feel you. I mean, I'm not going to complain because it's the peak. Raid Chowdhury says, hot take, but I'm already ready to take Giannis over KD all time, regardless of what happens the rest of these playoffs. Wow.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
I mean, yeah, his ring is more valuable. I'm taking Giannis's 1 ring over KD's 2. Like, for real. Raid Chowdhury says, Grizzlies needed this win. Now they're about to get gentlemen swept. Yeah, we'll see. You actually predicted Nets Lakers as Kyle's takes? No, I didn't. Not really. Kyle's takes, usually these overrated finals or matchup predictions never happened. Remember the Battle of LA? Yes, I do. Right, Chowdhury says, Darian, are the Sixers frauds even with a healthy Embiid? Yes, but they can maybe make it to the conference finals.
Harden's a fraud.
Yeah, Embiid's a beast. And Glenn.
Yeah, both of them.
Just the guy. Oh my God, bro. I just realized I didn't even talk about Giannis doing the Kobe today, throwing it off the backboard to himself. Oh my God, it was I can't believe I forgot. I'm such an idiot. That Giannis pass off the backboard dunk or GP2 dunk today. I think the Giannis one was impressive, but the GP2 dunk was sick. Mikey T says, Kerr was great today. Starting GP2, adjustments post-Dre ejection, and that after timeout for the Clay shot at the end was nice. Brent says, what do you think about Jerry West trying to cancel winning time? I think it's really good. Well, actually, I'm about to watch with my friend. By the way, I'm just saying, no guarantees. No guarantees, y'all. But there's a chance that in a month, less than a month, or around a month, one of the cast of Winning Time, one of the actors is going to be on Dime Dropper. So cross your fingers that happens, but we got something lined up. What do I think about Jerry West? I think it's a good show, but I think that they completely character assassinated him and made him look like a psychopathic lunatic that fucking is a rage monster as opposed to a depressed guy that struggles with anxiety and has a lot of demons internally. And I think they captured some of that, but they made him a joke. They made him a clown, like a caricature of an angry man. Just, it's disgusting, man. That's a very well-respected man. And I've never heard him be that, like, breaking golf clubs and like just cussing out people like that, being an asshole to Paul Westhead. Like, yeah, I don't blame Jerry at all. Wow, what a question this is. Right? Chowdhury says, Hal Greer or Earl Monroe? Whew. Oh, man. Hal Greer, I'd say. I think Hal was like, see, people are going to think this is disrespectful, but I think Hal Greer, like, of his era is like the Chris Paul. Maybe a little, he's not as good, but he kind of is, like, in the sense that he was so consistent for so long, an all-star like 10 times, mid-range sniper, but he won a ring. Now, he had more chokes than Chris. I think Earl the Pearl Monroe is better, though, because Pearl, he's so fancy. Like, he's just so flashy, man. Like, you can't guard one-on-one. He's a monster. And also just like leading his team to the finals with Unseld, but being the best scorer on that team. Like I just imagine if you put Pearl with Wilt Chamberlain. Like, I just think that would be really filthy. Like, that's the thing. I like Hal Greer a lot. I think it's arguable, I guess. That would be a great question to ask somebody who was alive then, but I'm probably going to go with Pearl just because he's so iconic. The spin move, he's one of a kind. You know, I've never, he's like Hal Greer. He's amazing, but like people can play like Hal Greer. Earl the Pearl Monroe is like a special talent. And he's a winner. Won a championship. Mavs Suns tomorrow? Yes. Ja'Cory Marshall says JJJ won't play that good again. I think he can do everything but hit those threes again, though. Kyle's takes us, how many years left are you giving this Steph Clay Dre thing before a possible decline? I'll give them this year, next year, and maybe at most a year after that, maybe with Clay and Dre. But that's it for me tonight, guys. Got a homie over here. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Peace. And yeah. By the way, Zach Randolph was there today. Oh my God. Thank God they lost. So he got to fucking go home disappointed. Z-Bot. All right. Peace out, y'all. Fuck the Grizz.